Something massive is stirring in West Africa, and the world's power players know it. Burkina Faso's leader, Ibrahim Traoré, isn't just defying the West, he's flipping the whole table. Trump's making noise again. France is out. Russia and China lurking in the shadows. And guess what? The Sahel is the new front line. Is this the moment Africa finally breaks the colonial script? Or are we racing toward a proxy war? The Sahel is heating up, and it's not just Africa that should be watching. So buckle up, because what's happening right now could shape the next global power shift. If you're tired of the same recycled headlines and half-truths, you're in the right place. Because here we unpack the raw, the real, and the stuff they don't want you to think about. So go ahead, hit that subscribe button. Let's break down what's really going on in Africa. The media is silent, but the stakes, they're louder than ever. This video might just change the way you see global power forever. Trump's second term is flipping the global script. This isn't about helping Africa anymore. It's about grabbing the steering wheel. America's foreign policy? It's no longer subtle. It's raw, resource-driven, and unapologetically America first. Forget aid packages and peace missions. This is about rare earths, gold, uranium, and oil. Trump's team is zeroing in on Africa's wealth with laser focus, tightening military presence, and cutting deals behind closed doors. But here's the kicker. Will Africa bow, or will it push back harder than ever? This isn't just politics. It's about where Africa stands in the global chess game. And if Traoré and others keep resisting, we might just see a whole new world order start from the Sahel. Enter Ibrahim Traoré, not your average president, a 35-year-old soldier who took power in Burkina Faso with fire in his eyes and zero tolerance for Western puppeteering. His rise wasn't just a coup, it was a message. Africa's done being anyone's playground. He's not talking about reforms, he's talking about revolution. Traoré's vision? An Africa that dictates its own future, controls its resources, and tells the West, thanks, but no thanks. France got kicked out. The EU got sidelined, and the world took notice. But here's the twist. Can he unite the fractured Sahel? Or will global superpowers do what they always do? Destabilize, divide, and conquer. Mali, Burkina Faso, Guinea, these aren't just countries anymore, they're a movement. They're standing up, locking arms, and saying loud and clear, France, your time is up, we're not your colony anymore. What started as scattered resistance is turning into a unified front. French troops? Kicked out. Western embassies? Watched like hawks. Leaders like Traoré aren't begging for respect, they're demanding it, and they're not alone. Niger is watching, Chad is watching. Even countries once loyal to the West are side-eyeing their so-called partners. This is Africa flipping the script after centuries of exploitation. It's not just symbolic. These nations are rejecting the CFA franc, shutting down foreign military bases and forging new alliances. Russia and China are sliding into the DMs while Europe scrambles to explain its concern. But here's the million-dollar question. Will this be a short-lived fires or the beginning of a total revolution? Because if Africa truly breaks free, the West doesn't just lose influence, it loses access, resources, markets, control. And that, my friend, is why the pressure's building. Because for the first time in a long time, Africa isn't asking. It's taking. While the West is busy holding press conferences and issuing warnings, Russia is already on the ground, locked, loaded, and making moves. Enter the Wagner Group, a private army that's anything but subtle. They're not rolling in with peace talks and handshakes. They're moving in with guns, gold contracts, and zero hesitation. From Mali to the Central African Republic, the Wagner Group is building Russia's empire of influence, one military deal at a time. And they're not just guarding palaces, they're guarding minds. Gold, uranium, oil, the stuff that powers economies and fuels empires. Russia knows exactly what it's doing. Get into Africa while the West's still arguing over press statements. But here's the twist. This isn't just Russia versus the West anymore. African nations are starting to choose sides. Some are leaning into Moscow's muscle, while others are still tangled in old alliances with Washington or Paris. So now the board is set. West versus East. Africa at the center. Resources on the table. The question isn't if tensions will explode, it's when. Because once boots hit sand and bullets start flying, the Sahel could become the hottest conflict zone since Syria. Are we ready for that fallout? Or are we already too late? America's standing at a crossroads, and the road signs are written in French, Russian, and Mandarin. With Trump back in the driver's seat, the old playbook is back too. Strong words, stronger actions. But here's the kicker. Africa's not buying it anymore. The continent that once got steamrolled by foreign agendas is finally pushing back. And now, the US is surrounded. Russia's got boots on the ground, China's got its claws in the economy, and leaders like Ibrahim Traoré are flipping the script. Washington's got two options: ramp up the military footprint, throw more drones in the sky, maybe even build new bases. Or do you step back, let the chips fall, and risk losing the whole region to rival powers? But Trump doesn't do passive, so the question is, will he risk another quagmire just to keep a grip on Africa? Or will the new Africa force the US to play by a whole new set of rules? Because one thing's clear, the Sahel isn't just some desert anymore. It's the world's next power stage, and America's next big decision is ticking. Burkina Faso, Mali, and Guinea just dropped a political bomb, an alliance that could shake the whole world order. No more playing solo. These countries are teaming up and saying loud and clear, we're done being puppets. They're calling it solidarity, but the West hears rebellion, and honestly, it might be both. This Pan-Sahel alliance isn't just about pushing back against Europe or the US. It's about building a new identity, one where African nations decide their future, their resources, and their partnerships. But here's the tension. Unity sounds good on paper. In practice? Different leaders, different ideologies, limited resources, and enemies, lots of enemies watching closely, waiting for cracks. So is this the beginning of a Pan-African revolution? Or just another dream that falls apart under pressure? Because if they pull it off, this could be Africa's NATO, strong, independent, unapologetic. But if it fails, chaos could spread like wildfire, and the West will be ready to swoop back in. We're standing on the edge of something big, maybe too big. As the West scrambles to protect its interests and Russia pushes its shadow game harder, the Sahel is turning into a global hotspot. And not the good kind. See, when powerful nations clash, they rarely fight on their own turf. Nope, they pick someone else's backyard. And right now, that backyard is Africa. What started as local uprisings and power shifts could explode into a full-blown proxy war. US influence, Russian mercenaries, Chinese infrastructure deals, all playing chess while African lives are the pawns. But here's the twist. This might not be a tragedy, it might be a turning point. Some say this could be the birth of a new African revolution, one where African nations stop being the battleground and start being the board. A revolution led not by bullets and coups, but by alliances, unity, and a refusal to be colonized, again. So the question is, are we watching the start of another puppet war, or the rise of a continent finally taking control of its story? Forget the tired old headlines. Africa's true revolution isn't in boardrooms or battlefields. It's in the streets, in the classrooms, on social media. It's loud, it's proud, and it's powered by the youth. Across Burkina Faso, Mali, Senegal, Nigeria, you name it, young Africans are rising, tired of corruption, done with puppet governments, fed up with watching their futures auctioned off to the highest foreign bidder. And here's the kicker. Leaders like Ibrahim Traoré, he's not just a military man, he's a symbol. A face for this youthquake shaking the continent from the ground up. At just 35, he speaks their language. He wears the same scars. And more importantly, he listens. These youth aren't asking for permission anymore. They're demanding change. With smartphones in hand and conviction in their voices, they're saying, we want a continent that works for us, not France, not America, not China, us. So what happens when 60% of a continent, yes, 60% under the age of 25, decides it's time to lead? We might be witnessing the dawn of a new Africa. One that doesn't just reject foreign influence, but redefines what power even looks like. This isn't just rebellion. It's rebirth. And if you think the world isn't paying attention, think again. Now the heat's on, and the West is sweating bullets. With the Sahel slipping through their fingers, they've got a big decision to make. Flex their muscles or play it cool. Sanctions are already flying. Economic chokeholds designed to punish governments like those in Mali and Burkina Faso. But here's the twist. They're not just hurting the regime, they're squeezing the people. And guess what? That's only fueling more resistance. So, do they double down with more pressure, or try diplomacy and risk looking weak? Washington and Brussels are holding emergency meetings, crafting new strategies, whispering about military contingencies. But behind the closed doors, there's a real panic setting in. The old playbook, it's not working anymore. Africa is no longer begging for a seat at the table. It's flipping the whole table over. So what's it gonna be, West? Sanctions that backfire? A soft power charm offensive? Or a dangerous game of military roulette? Because whatever choice they make, this new Africa isn't waiting for permission. This isn't just a regional drama. It's a global earthquake in the making. If the Sahel truly breaks free from Western grip and forges a new path, we're not just talking about new flags and new leaders. We're talking about a full-blown shift in global power. Imagine a world where trade routes bypass old colonial favorites, where African resources are controlled by Africans, where alliances are redrawn, and Washington, Paris, and even Beijing have to ask before they act. The Sahel could become the pivot point, the crossroads where East meets West, where old empires fall and new ones rise. This isn't a maybe. It's happening. Right now. And the ripple effects? They'll hit your gas prices, your tech supply chains, your foreign policies, everything. The world's watching Africa, but maybe it should start taking notes. Because the Sahel might just be the most important region you've never paid attention to, until now. We've seen the moves, the power plays, the rising giants. But the real question now, what's next? Is the Sahel the spark that lights a global fire? Or are we witnessing the first steps of a new, self-defined Africa breaking free from every chain? The story's not over, and your voice matters. Drop your thoughts in the comments. Hit that subscribe button so you don't miss what's coming next, because trust me, it's coming.